because if we come along and make a 10-centimeter contour map of all of it, we can see everything like that. Things that we might not have noticed in our original walkover, we'll be able to see these as sort of discrete contours. So that's our next thing here. Down the slope there, and we'll walk down there in a little bit. At the base of the slope is the turnpike. The turnpike descends, and we think that Maroney's stand was there right along the turnpike. These stands, stock stands, were typically right on the road, the buildings themselves, and then the corrals, pens would stretch along. There are probably pens back there up in that flat at the time that the stock stand was here. But there's evidence of a building down there right beside the road that would be outside the bounds of the fort. And the material associated with that building looks like it was from the 1830s and the earlier part of the 1830s. So we think that that was the extant Maroney stand. And one of the things, the reason we know about Maroney's stand is the Army moved in here. They left 2 companies under the command of F.S. Belton. And so they pitched their tents. They've made a regular Army camp, formalized it, but the officers wanted a regular place to eat. So they go in and they kick the family out of the house, out of the stand, and they held their officers' mess down there. And that's what this claim that Maroney and Milligan, his partner, filed, was that the Army displaced them from their dining facility every day, and then it said, and confiscated his liquor that he had for his own use. And the reason he said he had the liquor for his own use is it was illegal to sell liquor in the Cherokee Nation. So he had 60 gallons of liquor for his own use there. Obviously a heavy drinker. And the Army probably did him a favor by confiscating that. But that's why we know about the stand, and we know that it's right adjacent to the fort, or to the camp. And we believe that that facility there, a little more work I think will demonstrate that clearly. That's the place that the officers were using. Also, it's probably the place where Winfield Scott and his aide-de-camp stayed on June 11th, and then again on June 13th of 1838. Winfield Scott's aide-de-camp, the guy who wrote the letters for Winfield Scott and sent letters out that were addressed to Fort Armistead, was Robert Anderson. And if any of you are Civil War buffs, it's the same Robert Anderson who commanded Fort Sumter when Fort Sumter fell, and he's the same Robert Anderson that took command of Fort Sumter when it fell again. Okay, so he's famous in Civil War history. All of the guys, the officers who were associated with episodes around this fort went on to well-known careers in the Mexican War and some in the Civil War thereafter. So it has this association with these famous people. This is, for many of these folks, they don't even mention it in their memoirs that they were here. They sort of wrote it off. Their time that they cooled their heels here in Coker Creek. But it's important to us. Let's walk back over here in the area of these barracks and look around just a little bit. Now you'll notice that the stumps aren't cut off flush to the ground, so be really, really careful as you walk around. Watch your feet. You don't want anybody to get tripped up on any of these things.